So tell me more about you. We have time on our hands. This is one of the first sentences in the prologue of the novel Son of the House by Cheluchi Onyemelukwe-Onuobia, the book that I loved most in 2021 and that I'm going to review for you in this single review. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books. Welcome to my channel on this Saturday afternoon. Cheluchi Onyemelukwe-Onuobia, she's a doctor, she is a professor. She is a professor and she's specialized in health law, has studied, I think, in both Nigeria and in Canada, and she works at Babcock University in Ogun State in Nigeria. And she has published the novel The Son of the House with a different cover for the first time in the year of 2019. It was published at Penguin in South Africa. So this is a Nigerian novel. It's an Igbo novel. As you might know, Nigeria is a state with many people living there, different peoples with different languages. And one of the big languages, one of the big people in Nigeria are the Igbo people who are living, I think, in the southwest, mostly in the southwest of the country. And there are many others. Sometimes the languages are understandable to each other. Sometimes they have a lot of words that are not in common. The story is about two women. One of these women is today around 70 years old. Her name is Julie. The other woman is about 10 years younger. She is Nwabulu. And these two women get kidnapped in the beginning of the novel. They have been kidnapped. They are in the situation of having been kidnapped. Kidnappings happen very often in Nigeria, about 850 officially each and every year. I've found a number of 2018. And kidnapped are people, rich people, people from middle class, but also poor people get kidnapped by diverse gangs in Nigeria. We hear very often of the radical Islamic group Boko Haram that is kidnapping mostly a lot of girls to marry them with their fighters, but also criminals are kidnapping people in Nigeria and they ask their relatives and their loved ones for ransom. And otherwise, people really get killed pretty often if the ransom is not paid. So Julie and Nwabulu, they sit in a car in Enugu, which is the capital of Enugu State. They're driving around and they have been kidnapped and they're sitting together in a cellar, and that's where the story starts. And Julie, the older woman, has the idea to let us tell us our life stories to get time pass away. We have time on our hands. And we start with a story, at least the book starts with the life story of Nwabulu. Nwabulu's mother died at her birth. Her beloved father, whom she has very fond memories of, died when she was 8 years old. And she got into the custody of a relative called Mama Nkandilim in the novel. Mama Nkandilim doesn't like Nwabulu at all because Nwabulu killed her mother for many people there. She is a witch, as people say, because she has killed her mother, and she's also one more mouth to feed for very poor people in the villages. So what people very often do, and that's not only in Nigeria what I learned, but all across Africa, is to send away girls to town, to cities, to work there as housemaids, or house girls as they're often called. So Nwabulu is first sent to Lagos, to the capital of Nigeria, to work as a housemaid, 10 years old. There she's being sexually molested, raped by the man of the house in which she's working. And the woman of the house she's working for doesn't blame her husband for raping the servant, but she blames 10-year-old Nwabulu for having seduced her husband, and she's being sent away back to Mama Nkandilim, to the village in Enugu State. And it takes a couple of months, and then Nwabulu goes to another house in Enugu, now the capital of Enugu State, and she's working for an okay couple. The man is very critical about her work. He's not very nice to her, not very pleasant, but he keeps his fingers off her. And Nwabulu has also the opportunity to go to school in the afternoons, which many house girls have not. I saw a documentary about house girls in Kenya coming from Uganda, and I will put a link down below. It's from BBC Africa, so that you, non-African viewers can really understand, because I had to learn myself, how the situation of these house girls is. And they are hundreds of thousands in Africa. That's what BBC is claiming. And all of them almost are living in very bad conditions, in very poor conditions. But Nwabulu is lucky because she can go to school in the afternoon. But the mama of her house, she says to Nwabulu, when you start dating boys when you are like 13, 14, 15 and you get pregnant, I'm going to throw you out of the house. And that's exactly what happens. Nwabulu falls in love with a boy who is the son of the house in one of the richer houses, a house that also has a maid who is befriended with Nwabulu. And so that's how she meets this guy, Urena, who's giving her the eye, who is courting her, who has having sex with her. And the only contraceptive that they use is that he says, I'm going to pull out before I'm ejaculating. So that doesn't work well many times, and of course Nwabulu gets pregnant when she's 16, and she first hides her pregnancy, then the pregnancy is discovered by the mama who she's working for, and again Nwabulu gets expelled, she gets sent away, but now she's pregnant and she comes back to the village, and Mama Kendilim has big problems because she doesn't want this girl. She doesn't want this girl who's pregnant now, and soon she has 2 mouths to feed, so I'm not going to tell you how it continues, because something you have to read yourself in this novel. But this is very intense. This is very painful what happens to Nwabulu, because she is an orphan. She is a child herself, but she is giving birth to another child, and she has nowhere to go and nowhere to turn to. Julie is telling her story then, and she's a bit older. She had huge problems finding a husband. She was 34 and she was unmarried. That's almost impossible in Nigeria at the time when she is living there. That is probably in the 80s in Julie's part when she's 34. And she sort of snatches a husband because there's a man who is married to a rich man, Eugene, who's married to a woman who has 2 girls, 2 daughters, but she hasn't given him a son, which is the most important thing. The son of the house is always the most important thing in this patriarchic society. So Julie fakes a pregnancy. She has an affair with this man, with his husband, with this married man, and she tells him, I'm pregnant and probably I will get a boy. And then he marries her as his second wife, realizing soon that she's not pregnant, and from then on, I'm not going to tell you what happens. This novel is very beautifully crafted, and I fell in love with the character of Nwabulu. Nwabulu is almost my age. We are age companions, and it's also for me a way to explore how a life of my own age, a companion of my year when I was born, is living her life or has lived her life in Nigeria so far as an Igbo woman in Enugu state. This has a very oral tradition. It is character driven, but it's character driven by Julie and Nwabulu, and Cheluchi Onyemelukwe-Onuobia has created one immortal character and a very good character, I would say. Nwabulu is really a woman, a character. We get to know her when she's 10 years old until she's in her 50s, and she's a fashion designer. Somehow she has turned her life around, right? She is no longer working as a house girl, and that is probably very seldom and very, very rare when I understand the documentaries that I've seen about house girls, about housemaids, right? But nevertheless, it's set in Nigeria in a time, in the reality of Nigerian society, with the backdrop of a civil war that happened in the country that led to deep depressions for Julie's brother, Afam, and ultimately to his death also. It is the story of a patriarchic society, and it's a very feminist story about resilience, about the will to the refusal to give up and the attempts to try it again and again. And that's also what these women in Uganda, for example, do, who are going as house girls, as housemaids to Kenya to earn some money for their poor families at home. They're trying to fight, they're trying to find their role, to find their place in society, and they don't give up. But it's a very tough life. And this novel shows also that that women are, at least until a certain time, regarded as a womb that has the order, the purpose to give a son to the husband. At least one son, and then many other children, but a son of the house, that's the most important thing, to carry on your name, to inherit your house and to your belongings and whatever. This was very powerful to me. I love the story. I was in it from the very first moment, and I really would love you to comment on this and to read it for yourself. The Son of the House by Cheluchi Onyemelukwe-Onuobia. Thanks very much for watching this video. I see you soon with a wrap-up of the things that I'm currently reading and that I plan to read in the future, and of a super TBR that I'm preparing, a TBR for the next 4 or 5 months, where I'm going to invite all of you who are watching my videos to buddy read with me. So, have a beautiful Saturday. Bye-bye.